Hello, welcome to Alyssa Jean's Reviews, and welcome to my live chat with wine for September 2024. Welcome, Maddie Jester and Brandon Neal Howells in the chat. And congratulations, Maddie, you got the wine correct this time. You said in the chat that you never get the wine right, but you guessed correctly. It is a Pinot Noir. I couldn't think of a fancy screen name for Pinot Noir. Like, have I used in the past? Like, I don't know. So I just went with the old Pinot Queen, like the Cab Sav Queen, But like, I don't know. I was thinking like Pinot Noir, like a noir mystery, like. Then there's Noir Spider-Man from the Spider-Verse movies, like Pinot Noir Spider-Man. Like that didn't really make any sense. I like Pina Colada, but and when you're out in the rain. Um, but no, no, that didn't work. So I know I've had Pinots before, but what nickname I used, I don't remember. So I'm just the Pinot Queen. Hello, everyone. Cheers. Remember when I first started these, I used to ask you all what you were drinking, even if it wasn't non-alcoholic. Kind of got away from that. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you have any difficulties. So you can't tell, but I've moved to a new apartment. But here's the thing. My new apartment has a tunnel that goes down to the same wine cellar as my old apartment, so I can still get into the same wine cellar. That's why you can't tell that I'm in a totally different place. Actually, when I go back to doing videos with Mark and stuff, or other videos that I might record in the future, I'm still going to be sitting in front of that same tapestry that I usually sit in front of. So, but it'll be in a different room. So I'm wondering if anyone will be able to tell the difference once I start doing that. But otherwise, no, this is the same wine cellar as I go. There's a series of tunnels underneath this apartment. It's funny that I say that because there actually is I have this apartment building that I live in has a garage underneath it. Like every unit has its own garage to put their car in or put their extra stuff in or whatever. And I don't know if that's common in other countries, but I've never heard of that in the US. But this is a really old building, so maybe it was more common in the old days. So to get to it, like you can walk around the outside and get to it, but to get to it more directly, I go down these stairs, and then there's like this very narrow hallway in the basement that like reminds me of like a dark tunnel, but there is lights in there. But it makes me think I'm going through like an underground tunnel, which really I am, because that's where I am right now, in the underground tunnels that get to my wine cellar. There was a person on here who came on a while back. It was like a one-time person who came on here. I believe it was someone who had discovered me through my trans videos. Might have even been a trans woman herself, who was like, "Oh my God, you're in a wine cellar!" like believed that I was in a wine cellar, which of course I am. I'm not saying I'm not. Of course I am. This isn't a green screen at all. How you all doing? Got quite a few things I wanted to get into, including this cheese and crackers here. Bit chilly in Australia. That's your it's September. So what is that, like spring for you? Or like end of winter getting into spring, kind of? Because we're end of summer getting into fall here. Brandon, you're right. I think I even had that tapestry in the place that I lived before that, and it was using it as the background. But I think then you could see the couch I was sitting on. It was now then, and the last place I listened to was like, or the last place that I lived at, it was like only the tapestry is the only thing you saw. That's probably gonna be the case here as well. What shall I start with? I'm going to start with Tyler's questions. Tyler was not able to be here, but I invited him to ask me some questions that I would answer on the live chat. Although I guess I should go answer Will Ferrell number one's question first before I answer Tyler's. Will Ferrell number one and Tyler both like to ask random questions, which I love for this format here because it keeps me giving me things to talk about. Not always my favorite thing if Mark and I are like having a stream and we're talking about a specific topic. If you're asking random questions that don't have anything to do with what we're talking about, it makes me feel like you're not listening to us, even if you are. But in here, you ask me whatever the fuck you want, and that's what this is for. So let me first go back to Will Ferrell number one's question, then I'll get to Tyler's questions that he asked me on Facebook. Will Ferrell's number one's question is, did you ever watch Home Improvement, and do you like Tim Allen? I did watch Home Improvement back in the, like, what was that, the 80s or 90s or whenever it was out. And I remember his stand-up comedy before that show came on. And I remember him going, "Rrr, rrr." And then they made the whole theme song about that. "Rrr, rrr." Like, it was a bit much. I liked the show at first, but it became a bit much. And Tim Allen, of course, you know, he was in Galaxy Quest, great film. But do I like Tim Allen? No. And when I did my Nostalgia Lane review for Galaxy Quest, I had said I had to like ignore the fact that I can't stand Tim Allen as a human being. Like, he's a terrible, awful, bigoted, anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ, misogynistic asshole Republican, and I can't stand him as a person. So like going back and watching Galaxy Quest, I like had to put all that aside and just like enjoy the movie. But yeah, no, I cannot stand Tim Allen, and I don't think he's funny anymore either. I should clarify. I've said I don't think Dave Chappelle is funny anymore. In that case, I mean Dave Chappelle used to be funny, and now he's not. Tim Allen retroactively has never been funny. I was just stupid and young and thought he was funny when I was young. But actually, I will go back and watch his comedy back then, or go back and watch Home Improvement back then that I used to think was funny and not find it funny at all. Whereas Dave Chappelle, I can still find the Chappelle Show hilarious. So there's a distinction there. Anyways, let me have a cracker. All right, I'll answer one more question, but then I'm gonna get to Tyler's questions. These are like about my dog, because I want to answer them. What do you think of Steve Urkel? I think he's the most obnoxious, annoying character in the history of television. That was like, he came on right toward, like, as I was starting to finally get sick of those family sitcoms. Like, I would have been watching like Seinfeld at that day, but like I grew up on all those like different Strokes and Silver Spoons and all those, like, and Growing Pains, and of course Brady Bunch and reruns, like all of those kind of, and Full House, like all those family sitcoms. And then when Family Matters came on, that's just when I was kind of getting tired of it. And little known fact, Family Matters is a spinoff of Perfect Strangers, because the main guy, uh, he was a character from Perfect Strangers, and then he went and had a show about his family, and it was supposed to be about his family, but Urkel just totally took over the show. Urkel was not even like in his family. It wasn't even supposed to be about Urkel at all, but he just kind of took over the show. Um, so yeah, sorry, I'm giving negative answers to your questions. I can't stand Tim Allen, and could never stand Urkel. Although Jaleel White, I think his name is, seems like a perfectly fine person as far as I can tell, but the character back in the day was obnoxious. Now, so Tyler had asked me some questions about my dog. Let me pull those up because I have pictures. Brandon already knows this, like, um, but maybe some others do not know. So let's see. Wait, he asked the question. Oh, in my original male to female transition video, there's a picture of me with a dog, and then the same dog from 2020. And I said the dog had been through a lot. Tyler said, "What was his name? I really want a dog. I'd like a Labrador." And then there's a follow-up question he has in a different post about my current dog. But let me start there. And Brandon already knows this. But let me see. Present my screen. All right, my dog's name that I had him for 17 years. I had him for 16 years. He lived for 17 years. His name was Sawyer. He died in January of 2023. So almost 2 years ago he died. Okay, so here's the Sawyer album cover, as I like to call it. It looks like he's a badass like rock musician. I don't know, or like somebody else could use this as an album cover. He was a hiker, loved to go into the woods, as my new dog does as well. But we'll get to her. Here, let me show you another one. Oh, look at how cute he was. This is my back porch, my back deck that I used to have in the house that I used to live in near Mount Hood. This is later in his life, but he still looks pretty good at this point. So that's Sawyer. He passed away in January 2023. And then, I mean, I had him for 16 years. So it was hard to like move on to another dog. So it took me from January to September. In fact, 2 days from now is the 1 year anniversary of when I got Gina. Her name was Bathtub Gina because she was in the. Oh, I should pull up the bathtub picture. Let me pull that up real quick. Hold on a second. I don't have that ready to go. I should show you the bathtub picture because this is when I very first got her. Give me just a second here. Sorting through all this muck. Yeah, so I got her on September 16th, 2023. So Monday will be the 1 year anniversary that I've had Gina. All right, here we go. So this is the first day that I got her almost a year ago now. That's Bathtub Gina, because when I first got her, she just went straight into the bathtub and like wouldn't get out of it. And then after a while after that, like she stopped going in the bathtub, but then she wouldn't leave the bathroom ever. And I even had to feed her in the bathroom because she wouldn't leave the bathroom. Like that was her safe space. She was scared. She didn't know me yet. She was kind of scared of me. But she's come a long way. Now here we are a year later. Um, and now she no longer hides in the bathroom. Now she hides in the closet. So she pretty much lives in the closet. Um, but it's fine. The closet in my room, so it's like now she's part of my space. Actually, she had a period of time where she was sleeping on my bed all the time. Like she would never get off of my bed. Now she only comes up in my bed in the morning to wake me up. But most of the rest of the time, um, she is in the closet. And here's one more that actually I took just today. Um, and then, yeah, this was just like a few minutes before I started streaming. That's her in the closet. I just put blankets and pillows in there for her because why not? And sometimes also on the other side of this closet, you can't see, is where I keep my laundry basket. So sometimes she'll go sleep in my laundry basket, and she doesn't really fit, so she has to cram herself into it. She reminds me of a cat in some ways. Also, Tyler asked me if I could have my dog in the video, and there's no way in hell that I'm gonna get her to come up here and like force her to be in the screenshot. There's just no way in hell that's gonna happen. Like I would have to drag her up and force her, and it's just not happening. So I didn't read his exact questions, but I do remember him asking. Yeah, he asked about my new dog, and oh, he also said Mark's cats are in Mark's videos in the background. So could I have my dog in the background? No, it's not the same because Mark's cats are just like they're what do you call them? Those cat thingies, those thingies that cats hang out in. Those are right behind where Mark films, so they're constantly going up there and they're in the background. But yeah, right here behind me is the wall. Actually, I know. I'm sorry. Right here behind me is my wine cellar. but but yeah. So there's no way in hell I would ever get her to be in this video. It's just not happening. Um, so wait a minute, Matty Jester, why are you quoting the Enterprise theme song? I missed the context there. It's been a long road, so does oh from how far GNS has come. Okay, I get it. Brandon mentions Diego. Diego is my friend's dog who I've dog sat for sometimes and has made appearances in my videos before. But Diego's not my dog. All right, the other two topics I wanted to talk about. Oh, that was just something falling off my wall. There's this poster that I put on the wall that I try to put sticky things on, and they're not sticking, so I'm going to have to fix that. I don't know if you all even heard that noise. Anyways, I wanted to talk about Lord of the Rings, the new season of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. And then all Star Trek news, because the last time I did this was in June, and then we had Star Trek panel in San Diego Comic-Con in July. And then recently we had another clip of Lower Decks release. So there's a lot of Star Trek stuff I could talk about. But first, another bite of cheese. Because I mentioned Growing Pains, and now that theme song is in my head. Show me a smile again. Show me that smile. I went on a backpacking trip with three of my girlfriends a couple months ago. And for this, somehow we got singing that theme song. I don't remember. how, but somehow it came up and we just started going around singing that song. As long as we got each other. um, we've talked about 80s sitcoms on this stream before. We don't need to get back into that again. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole again. Let's start with Lord of the Rings. Now, Brandon, I know you're like a Lord of the Rings aficionado. Brandon's asking if we were high. No, I don't think we were at the time that we started singing that song. I think we were just hiking. Like, I don't think we were high at that moment. We're just being silly. You can be silly without being high. um, okay, what else? Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings of Power. Brandon, I know you're like an aficionado of Lord of the Rings, and you are very stickler about all the, lore and all that, and probably hate it for all those different like things that, like, I hear these say, "Oh, that's not what happened. Oh, that's not what they're. Oh, they're messing with it." I don't care about any of that. I just really don't. So, I would say thus far, this is 5 episodes in of season 2. We've got 3 more left. Season 2 is a definite improvement over season 1. In fact, I'd go so far to say if it keeps on the course that it's on, I will definitely have to say that season 2 of Rings of Power is better than season 2 of House of the Dragon, which, when you compare the season 1s of those shows, they always come out around the same time. And this year, House of the Dragon came out a little bit earlier, but last time they were airing at the same time, which was totally unfair to the Rings of Power, because House of the Dragon season 1 was vastly superior. But comparing the seasons 2s, now season 1 of House of the Dragon, I lowered it considerably in my ranking because of the finale. So it's possible that Rings of the Power has the same problem, and then it goes back right on back down. But if it continues on its current course, I will have to say that season 2 of Rings of Power is better than season 2 of House of Dragon, and I never would have imagined that after season 1, because House of the Dragon was like vastly superior, wasn't even remotely close. So what I like about season 2 as compared to season 1 is that well, I think the biggest thing is the show is called The Rings of Power, and now it's about the freaking Rings of Power. Like, season 1, no Rings of Power until like the last 5 minutes of the season. We finally saw some fucking Rings of Power. Like, what the hell have we been watching for 8 episodes? Like, what is the point of this? It was like all set up. The show is called The Rings of Power. You gotta have the Rings of Power. I mean, at least midway through season 1, if not sooner. I mean, it's called the fucking Rings of Power. So season 2, you know what it's about? The Rings of Power. So, and I don't know. I've heard mixed opinions on whether in the lore that these original Rings of Power had these evil connotations the way that is depicted, especially with the dwarves. I've heard actually both, so I don't know. But I really love what they're doing with the Rings of Power. And I love how they're drawing from the Peter Jackson films. And there's definitely a lot of parallels that are drawn specifically from the Peter Jackson films. The way that the dwarf, there's mild spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen it. You can close your ears or or mute me or whatever. It's not major spoilers, but some little I'm gonna spoil some scenes here. When the dwarven king, I forget his name, like can't find his ring, and he's like, "Where's my ring?" Like, it reminds me of Bilbo. And I saw like Screen Rant, or not Screen Rant, Screen Crush, or one of those things like showed that, but I already figured that out on my own. I already knew that. And then how the ring whispers. I thought Durin was the name of the son, isn't it? Like the main guy. Isn't that not Durin? I thought the king's name was something else. I'm talking about the father. his name is Durin? I thought it was the son. Well, whatever. They're usually pretty good about that stuff. Oh, they're both named Durin. Okay. Okay. Uh, so Will Ferrell #1 says rockin' pool is nice and cool, so juicy, sweet. Only wish to catch a fish so juicy, sweet. They're doing a Gollum movie apparently. Now they're going to do it into 2 movies. Sounds like the Hobbit bullshit to me. But see, this is better than that. This is better than the Hobbit. This is better than what I imagine they're going to do with this Gollum bullshit. But I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong about the Gollum stuff. But what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. No, this is good. I like that. I think overall, I find that it's more succinct. It's more to the point. It's not dragging its feet, spinning its wheels as badly as season 1 did. I still hear people complaining about that, but as compared to season 1, I think that it is much more to the point. In fact, I think it's Jesse Gender who said like nothing is happening. I disagree. I think there's a lot more happening in season 2 than what happened in season 1. Although compared to a normal show, I could see you could make that critique, but compared to season 1, I think it's so much better. I still think it has too many storylines, too many characters. I think it's trying too hard to be like Game of Thrones, like the original Game of Thrones, not House Dragon, with all those different storylines and different locations and different characters. Personally, I would nix the Numenor storyline and the one with that one elf who with the archer, who's like was kind of in love with Bronwyn, who died off screen because the actress didn't want to come back. uh, and her son, I want to call him Theon, Theo, I don't know. That stuff. I could do without all that stuff. Like, I don't think you. I mean, I assume it's all going to tie in together, and where they're going with this, you do need those characters. But the Numenor characters, like, I just don't give a fuck about any of those characters. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, I really don't care about any of those characters. Like, I could just I don't care. Like, I don't care. Although, again, not as bad as season 1, because season 1 we spent a lot of time in Numenor with like nothing happening, and it was so boring. So far, they've only appeared in 2 out of the 5 episodes, so not as not as bad. And then, yeah, I get, Ilsendor comes from there, and he's obviously a big deal. But you can just show that he comes from there, and that's it, and then just follow Ilsendor. Yeah, and Brandon says he nicks the Harfoots. I'm the only one who loves the Harfoots. Like, everyone else complains about the Harfoots. I love that storyline in season 1. I love it even more in season 2. I love it, and I love that the stranger. It's Gandalf. Come on, it's fucking Gandalf. I don't care what anyone says. The Gandalf character met Tom Bombadil. I love that they brought Tom Bombadil in. I heard people complaining, well, it's not like Tom Bombadil. He's a little too, I don't know, melancholy or whatever. It was fine. I liked him. I like that. I love that they brought in Tom Bombadil at all, since he was cut out of the movies entirely. So I loved it. I really enjoy. I actually. It's not fair to say that I love the Harfoot storyline in season 1. I did have my complaints about it. I think, like all the other storylines, it dragged, but I liked the characters. I liked ultimately where they went with it, but I like it even more in season 2. Although I do have to admit, I couldn't remember what they're doing. Like, I think I've surmised that they're just trying to find Gandalf's where he came from. But at first I was like, wait, what are they doing again? I don't remember. Like, they're just going on some quest that I don't remember. This has been so long since I've seen season 1. But I like the Harfoots. I don't care what anyone else says. I would never nix the Harfoots. I would nix Numendor, and then the whole like the elf with the Theon and Theo and yeah, that stuff. Uh, yeah, this the strength of the show is the elven storylines. Sauron, I love Sauron in this season. Um, I heard Jesse Gender complain about, and I agree with this, how there was too many mysteries, and they were like, "Ooh, who is this? Who's Sauron? Who's this guy Halibran? Who's the real Sauron? Who is this stranger?" Like just too many mysteries. Whereas they've cut that bullshit out, and like now we just know who Sauron is. And I love that they open the season with that flashback showing us how Sauron got from being killed by what's his name, the evil guy, the orc dude, being killed by him to where he got when we first met him, when he met Galadriel. And frankly, I thought that should have been in season one, because you have this encounter with those two characters. He's like, "Do you remember me?" No. And I don't know, this means nothing to me. This confuses me. I don't understand it. I have no context for this. So that scene should have been in season one, but they had wait till the last minute to reveal who Sauron was, so we couldn't do it. Like, but that stuff should have been in season one. It would have made it make so much more sense. um, um, uh, Elrond and Galadriel, I wonder way are chasing each other in the most gorgeous clothes. Um, yeah, I think the costuming is I love the costumes. Um, I love the sets again. Although this year they did not film it in New Zealand, I still think I still love the sets. I still love the imagery. Um, Brandon says, "Fun fact: the bloke who plays Sauron was born in my city. The Dark Lord is an Aussie." That is a fun fact. I did not know that. I did not know that. Sauron was future guy in Enterprise. Facts. I don't think that is a fact. But I would rather be Sauron than fucking Captain Archer. I will say that. I will say that. Um, all right. I believe Manny said earlier that you're not really a Lord of the Rings fan. So I don't want to. I don't want to drag this out too much longer. I'm going to pour another glass of wine. If you guys want to comment real quick, if you want to add anything else about Lord of the Rings, go ahead. Otherwise, after I pour my glass, I'm going to move over to Star Trek. Oh, by the way, this is a local wine, Oregon Cascade West Pinot Noir. Once again, courtesy of Grocery Outlet, on sale for $6.99. The Ents! They have the Ents this year! I love the Ents. They had an Ent wife. But Maddie has now moved on to Lower Decks. Lower Decks. Shall we start with Lower Decks, or shall we start with that awful, terrible scene that they showed us from fucking Strange New Worlds? Okay, I'm going to start there. You know me, I'm a Strange New Worlds girl all the way. I love me some Strange New Worlds. You know this. It is either my favorite show of Modern Track or it's tied to Floor Decks. But I hope that this is the last year that they insist on doing a fucking Spock comedy episode. They've gotten worse every year. The first season one, well, I didn't think it was as amazing as other people were making it out to be. I did enjoy it. I did think that uh, Spock and T'Pring had good chemistry, and it was fun. Brandon said you haven't seen it. Well, don't bother. It's an awful one of those Spock comedy ones, and they did a whole scene from it. The gist of it, and I know you don't care about being spoiled, so I'm going to tell you. The gist of it is, um, all the rest of the crew makes themselves Vulcan for some reason. So like Pike and Leanne and Chapel and everybody like all make themselves Vulcan, and then they all beam down to this planet to do this task, and they complete the task, and they come back up, and of course they can't turn them back. um, I'm sorry, but that was terrible. Like that's the fucking clip you chose. I guess they don't want to ruin Strange New Worlds by showing us a good clip. But I really think they really love these Spock comedies. And the thing is, other people love these Spock comedies. Like people love that horrible one from season 2 that I have named as my it was my number 5, fifth worst episode in all of Modern Trek. That episode was awful. It was just rehashing old, tired sitcom tropes that I've seen a million times that were never funny to begin with. There was nothing new. It was terrible. But people liked it. So Strange New World was like, oh, let's do another Spock comedy episode and let's highlight it in fucking Comic-Con and let's show this awful scene from a terrible episode that I want to say that I would want to just skip that episode when it comes on. I probably won't because it's Star Trek and I have to watch it all, but I almost want to skip that episode when it comes on. Typically, they've been coming on about episode 5-ish, so that might be when that episode comes. I hope. I hope it's not like episode 2. uh, yeah. So you have seen that, Brandon? Yeah, I thought you would have. Yeah. So, um, yeah. No, it's terrible. Um, uh, I really wish they would stop doing the Spock comedies, which I think that scene's got a lot of critique, a lot of criticism when it was released. So maybe people will finally stop liking these fucking Spock comedies and they'll stop doing them. Yeah, so that I still think Strange New Worlds will be totally fine, but I can't believe they chose that as their scene that they wanted to show everybody. I don't know. Hopefully, the rest of the season isn't that like that. Brandon mentioned the musical episode. Very mixed feelings on the musical episode out there. People loved it. People hated it. I was more in the middle on it. But I do makes me think that like I don't want them to continue down that path of trying these new like wacky things like that. I don't mind them doing new things. I like them doing new things. But no more trying to be funny or cute or cutesy. Like just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop. Stop it. Yeah, so Lower Decks also had a scene released. Well, also had a trailer. We'll talk about the trailer first, or a teaser trailer back at Comic-Con. Give me a second. The teaser trailer was fun. They did the whole thing from Was it Star Trek 5 or Star Trek 6? I think Star Trek 6, where they did that. We have been following these characters for so long. Blah 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 blah. Um, yeah, that I like that, and I'm very tickled by the alternate universe Cerritos with Captain Becky Freeman, and Rutherford's a full-on cyborg, and Boimler has a purple beard, and Ensign Barnes looks exactly the same. Um, that's fun. Uh, a lot of fun scenes in that trailer. Here's what we didn't get though. This is what I wish they would do. Okay, because episode 1 is airing October 24th. Do the math. 7 days later, episode 2 will air on Halloween. And I'm sure that when they were making the episodes, they didn't know it was going to get pushed back to October. So I'm sure they didn't do this. But a Cat's Paw parody airing on Halloween would be fantastic. But I don't think they're doing that because I don't think they knew they were going to be streaming episodes on Halloween. And I didn't see any indication in the trailer that any such thing exists. But like that's the perfect episode to do a parody of, having them being chased by a big cat. Yeah. Yeah, Cat's Paw is almost so bad that it's good episode, but I don't believe in so bad that it's good. But you can almost like laugh. I can get some entertainment value out of watching it. But it's just, yeah, it is one of the worst episodes in the original series, and that's saying a lot because there's some really bad ones. But I would love a Cat's Paw parody, or at least like one Cat's Paw parody scene, even if the whole episode isn't that. You know how they like to do the cold openings. Like last year, they did the one with the I am Manushka, the masks one. It was just the cold open. Like they could just do that. That would be fine. But like have the witches going, like, they gotta do it, but they probably aren't, because I don't think they were intending for this to be on Halloween. Oh well. Notice how I haven't talked about this is the final season of Lower Decks. I'm just trying not to think about it. Sounds like they made no effort to wrap it up the way that they did for Discovery, so maybe there's still some hope it gets picked up. Will Ferrell #1. Yes, I did know that. The little piece of trivia. The Mike Myers mask he's talking about from the Halloween films is a William Shatner mask painted. Yes, I did know that. Very common piece of trivia for Trekkies. Yeah, it was a William Shatner mask. So did you all see the scene from Lower Decks from the first episode? Kind of spoils things a little bit, but I don't. But I don't think it's that big of a spoiler anyway. That there's these collectors, and like one of the collectors is with this girl, and then the Orions attack, and Tendy's sister attacks them, and the girl turns out to be Tendy in disguise, and kind of spoiled that episode. But that's probably like the cold opening of the first episode, so you can pretty much figure out it was Tendy anyways. It was kind of obvious. And she's just like not wanting to kill people. I hope that they wrap that up in the first episode, and then she gets it back on the Cerritos in episode 2. Like, didn't care for the season ending that way, anyways. Like where she's gonna go off, and I didn't hate the Orion storyline as much as Mark did, but I want them to wrap that up and get her back on the Cerritos. This kind of reminds me of what they did with Boimler, putting him on the Titan at the end of season 1 and at the beginning of season 2. It's like, okay, yeah, just get him back to the Cerritos. Within like 2 or 3 episodes, he was back on the Cerritos. So I imagine something similar for Tindy. And I hope it's just one episode that she's off with the Orions, and then by the end of that first episode, she's back on the Cerritos, and we can move forward and get to the good stuff with the season. Matty Jester says more Moopsy, please. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not enthralled with Moopsy as everyone else is. It's fine, but like I could take it or leave it, honestly. But I don't know. Cute things on Star Trek, like Tribbles, I never cared that much about either. So like, I don't know. Moopsy. What else? Never got any closure to the William Boimler storyline, where he was joining Section 31 in season 3, and they didn't do a thing about it in season 4. So, in fact, my theory all through season 4 was that he was the big bad, and it turned out to be Nick Locarno. Yeah, we need that storyline wrapped up from season 3, and we don't need Badgie anymore. Again, didn't hate Badgie as much as Mark did, but I'm done with Badgie, and certainly no more Peanut Hamper. You know how I feel about Peanut Hamper. Maybe he's in the Michelle Yeoh movie. Who's in the Michelle Yeoh movie? Moopsy? Oh, William Boimler. That would be funny. I don't think so. Andrew Robinson is rumored to be in an episode of Lower Decks this season. That would be amazing. I would love that. I would love that, because we missed him in the Deep Space Nine episode that did in season 3. He wasn't there, so they need to bring him on in. Also, I was wondering, like, when the Doctor was in Prodigy, he was like, "Oh, this is the most dysfunctional crew I've seen since the Cerritos," and I'm like, does this mean that the Doctor's going to be in Lower Deck season 5? Because when did he ever go to the Cerritos? He's never been on the Cerritos before. Maybe they were spoiling that he's going to be in season 5. I don't know. Like, how would he know? He's never been on the Cerritos as far as I've ever seen. So, yeah, they need to put him in season 5 of Lower Decks. But yeah, would love to see Garrick in season 5 of Lower Decks. What other Star Trek stuff? Not much to say about Starfleet Academy, though I'm more intrigued by it than I thought I would be. I actually think it has a chance to be a pretty decent show, depending on how they do it. So we'll see. We shall see. I'm a little saddened by the state of Star Trek moving forward. I feel like we've had peak Star Trek now, and it's gone, and I fear we will not get it back. Because 2025, we're only going to have 2 shows, plus the Section 31 film, and Strange New Worlds, and Starfleet Academy should be out by the end of 2025. People were saying, "Oh, we're not going to get that to 2026." Why not? They're filming it now. Why would it take them a year and a half or 2 years to get it out if they're filming it right now? It should be out by the end of 2025, at least. But assuming it is, then all we have is Strange New Worlds season 3 and and the Section 31 movie and Starfleet Academy. And then moving forward, all we have is Strange New Worlds and Starfleet Academy. And the only thing that has even been remotely mentioned as being on the radar is a comedy that takes place on a Risa-like planet, written by and starring Tawny Newsome. Or I don't remember if she's starring in it, but she's writing it and producing it. Which, it's fine. I don't mind that they're doing a comedy, and especially with Tawny Newsome involved, I'm sure it'll be hilarious. But that can't be like the face of the Star Trek franchise. That should be like the 4th or 5th Star Trek show that's on, like deep in the rotation. That shouldn't be like the prime Star Trek show, and that's the only other thing we have on the horizon. They've vaguely said they're going to make more long tracks like the Section 31 film, but we don't have any confirmation of what those are going to be. Yeah, it was not, Brandon, it's not necessarily Risa. It just sounded like a Risa-like planet, like a resort planet. They never said specifically it was Risa. But when you say resort planet, I mean that's kind of a dumb concept. An entire planet is a resort. Anyways, let's not get in. Don't forget that Origins movie set between First Contact and Enterprise. Order right period for Trek. Also great. I mean, there is, as far as I know, there's no movie that's like that. I haven't heard of a movie like that. Is that a thing? That's been confirmed. There's rumors for all kinds of movies, but anything that's been officially confirmed, this is in production. I don't think that's a thing. I mean, if it sounds like a rumor to me, I haven't heard of that. Yeah, End of Disco and Lower Decks. Lower Decks is ending prematurely. And see, I don't want it to go to Netflix and not be on Paramount Plus at all. Like, I don't want that either. They should just fucking keep it on Paramount Plus. God damn it. Gotta drink. Anywho. Andrew Robinson's 82 years old. Yeah, well, he better get in his voiceover for Lower Decks while he can. So hopefully that is a thing that's actually happening. See, now I'm gonna be disappointed if it's not. You shouldn't have said that, Will Ferrell #1, because if it's not true, I am really disappointed. Now I really want this to happen. Well, I don't know. I think those are all the Star Trek things that I had in mind. Anywho, did I say anywho? I don't think I've ever said anywho. I think I said anyhow. What else? What else? Give me some topics. No, I didn't. I said anyhow. I've never said anywho in my life. It's on the tape. You can go back and you'll be able to see. If I said it was quite accidental, because I've never intentionally said anywho. Pretty sure I said anyhow, though, and you thought I said anywho. But we'll have to go back and watch and see. Okay. Anyhow, anyways, actually what I normally say is anyways. That's what I normally say. I didn't say anything was wrong with it. I'm just saying I didn't say that. I think I said normally what I say is anyways with an S. Anyways, moving along. I'm not sure what we're moving along to. What do you guys want to talk about? Give me a topic. Adjacent to bear topics, are there any mooses where you live? Nope. No mooses here. I believe the correct plural is moose. However, the plural of moose is moose. There are some in other parts of the country, but as far as I know, there aren't any in Oregon. There are elk, which are similar, but I don't think there's moose. Well, film number one says the 1996 to 2010 TV series Heroes had a lot of Star Trek actors on it. I didn't come out in 1996. Heroes? Oh, 2006. I was gonna say, like, that didn't come out in the 90s. That makes more sense. Remind me which Star Trek actors were on that show. I'm sure that. Oh well, I mean, obviously there was Zachary, what's his face, who wasn't a Star Trek actor yet, who became one later. Zachary Quinto. Were there? Do you mean ones who became Star Trek actors later, or were already Star Trek actors? Oh, we can't forget that George Takei was in there. Wasn't he like Heroes, the Japanese character Hero? Wasn't he like his father or grandfather or something? Or he was like evil or something? I forgot George Takei was on there. Who else? Who else was in Heroes? Can't recall what other Star Trek actors there might have been. Leonard Nimoy was in Fringe. He was good in Fringe. And they fucking ruined that show and jumped the shark at the end of season 3. Nichelle Nichols was in Heroes? Who did she play? I don't remember that at all. But I don't really remember Heroes that much, to be honest with you. Oh, I guess I vaguely remember that Malcolm McDowell was in it. I don't really consider him a Star Trek actor. I mean, he was in one Star Trek movie, I guess. So I guess technically he is, but that's not what he's known for. What else you got? I'm running on fumes here. I don't have any other topics. Unless you want to see more dog pictures. No, that's fine. I've shown you enough doggy pictures. What else we got? You asked a question. What question did you ask? Oh, I missed that. How's Gina? Oh, now it went disappeared off my screen. How's Gina settling into the new apartment? Well, as I said, she's just hanging out in the closet. that's what she does. I'm settling into the new apartment quite fine. As I said, I still have my tunnel to wine cellar, so still get my wine in the same place. The move went well. Thank you very much. Any new Star Wars shows you're looking forward to? I'm starting to get Star Wars fatigue, to be honest with you. I'm just, no, I do agree with Mark's whole thesis that there's not really such thing as franchise fatigue. That's when the show gets bad or mediocre that you get tired of it, and it's not like you're tired of the franchise you won't be tired of the franchise as long as they put out quality products, which I agree with. But I just think it's just been so mediocre. And I'm just the Acolyte was just so mediocre. Like I'm just uh and even Andor, where everyone else thinks is the greatest thing ever made, I still think it's mediocre. So no, and then Skeleton Crew, that sounds terrible. Like I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to any Star Wars things. Uh, did I ever see Beetlejuice? Yeah, a long time ago. I saw it many times when I was younger. I haven't seen it in a while, although they were showing it at my one of the local, actually the movie theater that shows old movies and stuff. That's actually within walking distance of my new place. They were showing Beetlejuice last week, but I just didn't wasn't motivated to go. Like I just am tired when I get home from work and I didn't want to go see Beetlejuice, so I haven't seen it in a very long time. I thought it was hilarious when I was a kid, but I remember I watched it so many times that I think I finally got sick of it and didn't think it was as great anymore because I just saw it so many times. Um, when's the new one coming out? Is it out? I thought I saw reviews for it, and I'm like, is it out already? I don't know. Not that I'm gonna watch it, but I'm just curious. I probably will once it comes on streaming out of curiosity. But then again, I said the same thing to the new Willy Wonka movie. I'll probably watch it on streaming, and I haven't. So I may never watch it. I said the same thing in the new Indiana Jones movie too. I'll watch it on streaming, and I haven't. So maybe one day. Um, um, yeah, remember when Michael Keaton was known as a comedian? Like that's back in the day when he was known as a comedian, and then all of a sudden he was like, "I'm Batman." That's when he changed from being a comedian. Is when he all of a sudden he was a "I'm Batman." I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Like, why are they hiring I remember thinking at the time, why are they hiring a comedy actor as Batman? And there was a rumor, I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but the other actor they're considering was Bill Murray. And I'm like, what? Why are they hiring all these comedians to be to be Batman? But now people don't really think of Michael Keaton as a comedic actor anymore. But in the 80s, he was. Beetlejuice was like his big thing that he did. Uh, remember when they did a Batgirl movie? Me neither. They shelved that one for a tax break. Oh, I remember that. I do remember that. So you can't say you don't remember when they did a Batgirl movie because you do remember it. But you didn't see it because, as you said, yeah, they shelved it. Yeah, Batman. I'm kind of over Batman, and I'm really confused that they're still doing the Batman movies, and then they're doing the Penguin show, um, which is another thing I'm confused about. What I thought I saw a commercial that said it starts September 19th, and then I saw a thing on my Facebook feed that has a really high Rotten Tomatoes score. So I guess that must be the critics who got an advance of it because it's September 19th, right? Anyways, I'm confused of doing another The Batman movie, and they're doing the Penguin set in that universe. And yeah, they're starting this whole new DCU with James Gunn and that Batman apparently is not a part of that. So I don't know. Just don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Um, Mark would know where that's from. That's from the pitch meeting. I don't care. No, I don't care. Um, I think of Michael Keaton as the guy who used to star in the Christopher Guest documentaries. You must be thinking of Michael McKean. Michael Keaton was never in any Christopher Guest documentaries, as far as I recall. Michael McKean was in a bunch of them. That's I'm going to guess that's who you're probably thinking of. Because what one was Michael Keaton in? I don't think he was in any of them. Um, I could be wrong. He could have been in one, but Michael McKean was the one who was in a bunch of them. The Penguin, yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it or not. Probably not. Also, around the same time next week, the Agatha All Along. That doesn't look that good. Like I don't know. Uh, I'll watch it, but I'm not particularly excited about it. I don't know. I don't know. They changed the name of that show like 10 times. I'm not even exaggerating. The Agatha All Along show, like it said like 10 different names. Maddie Jester. I like penguins. They're pretty cool. Yeah, penguins are pretty cool. But the Penguin, the Batman villain, getting his own show. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. Yep, it's a spinoff from WandaVision. It's Agatha all along. Yeah, it was. I can't remember all the names that they've had for it, but they keep changing the name of it, and finally they settled on Agatha all along. Meh. Yeah, I'm finally getting MCU fatigue too. Like it's just mediocre project after mediocre project after mediocre project. But I think I'm more fatigued with Star Wars right now. It's just so mediocre. Feathers McGraw. I don't know what that means. Feathers McGraw. But that did make me think of randomly Shooter McGavin, and because I just saw that they're supposedly going to do a Happy Gilmore 2 of Christopher McDonald and Adam Sandler coming back. No, no, I will never see that. Just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. I will never see that. And Mark and I think, are in disagreement on this, but Naked Gun reboot starring, not, what's his face? Not Leslie Nielsen. Liam, Qui-Gon. I have a particular set of skills. Liam Nielsen. Liam Nielsen. Why did they pick someone with a similar name to Leslie Nielsen? Liam Neeson. Yeah, Liam Neeson is apparently in a new Naked Gun reboot. I actually don't think the Naked Gun movies are as funny as they used to be perfectly honest with you. I don't need to. I will probably never watch that. Most likely, especially if it's as offensive as the originals. I'm likely to never watch that. I do like the Star Trek Next Generation episode, A Fistful of Datas. I love Brent Spiner's Southern accent in that episode. Well, Will Ferrell, number one, you and I can agree to very strongly disagree. Cheers. I think I've made my opinion on that episode very clear in the past. Again, and in particular, Brent Spiner just drives me crazy in that episode. I can't stand him. Like, just stick to Data. Just stick to Data. That's all you can do, really. Yeah, I don't think it would be your humor. I remember when the Naked Gun movie first came out, and I hadn't seen it yet. I was in 8th grade, and we had these Australian girls come into our class. They were exchange students, or they were just visiting, or something. And they came in our class, and we got to do like they set up in the front of the class, and we can all ask them questions about Australia, like what's Australia like? How's it different from America, and all these sorts of things. And I just remember them saying, "We went to." I'm not going to try to do the accent. I can't do the accent. They said that they went to see uh, the Naked Gun. They were like, "It was so stupid. It was so stupid." I remember them just saying, "It was so stupid." And then when I finally did see the movie, and I just remember that, and I came to the conclusion Australians have a different sense of humor than Americans. They didn't get it. Like it was so stupid, but that was the point of it, to be really stupid. Um, so when I did see that movie, I thought back to those girls, and I was like, "Oh, it's just they have just a different sense of humor than Americans." Um, Happy Gilmore 2 is not needed. Agreed. Uh, Are there kangaroos on every street? Is that the question you think we would have asked them? I don't remember what anyone asked them. Um, all I remember is them going, "We went to see Naked Gun, and it was so stupid." That's the only thing I remember about that whole thing. um, they knew O.J. Simpson was up to no good. That makes it hard to go back and watch the Naked Gun movies too. That O.J. Simpson was in them. So it's like this doesn't age well. um, let's see. Yeah, I can't recall if I feel like I've tried to watch Australian comedies before, and I can't think of any specifics. I'm sure Mark knows of some Australian comedies, and I think he agrees with me. They're so stupid. They're so stupid. So yeah, I think we just have a different sense of humor. Although, quite frankly, most American comedy films and TV shows these days are also really stupid, in my opinion. So, um, the comedy that I tend to like is not typically the mainstream type of comedy. I like intelligent humor. Lower Decks is great comedy. Like I like intelligent humor. Um, Brandon says, "I don't get most comedy. I'm too dark." I can see that. I can see that. I can see you being a little dark. Um, what else, you guys? Bring it on. What else you got for me? Let's get into that time. It's been over an hour. It's been an hour and 13 minutes, so could be wrapping up soon. Have you ever seen Airplane 2, the sequel, Top Secret, Hot Shots, Hot Shots Part 2? All of those. Saw all of those back in the day. Used to love all of those movies. Um, Top Secret, I saw years later. It didn't when it came out. It was like before The Naked Gun and all that stuff. But it was after Airplane, and I didn't get what the point of it was. But yeah, I saw it later. But I used to love all of those movies. Airplane 2 wasn't nearly as good as Airplane 1, though. Um, it's just they're just repeating the same shtick. Like, whereas Naked Gun 2.5, I think, was still as good as the first one. Airplane 2 was not as good. And I don't really remember Hot Shots Part 2, but I think that also wasn't good, if I recall. Um, but all of those movies, like in retrospect, I don't hold them as in high regard. And I think Mark still does, but I don't. Airplane in particular has a lot of racist and sexist problematic scenes that I didn't notice when I was a kid or when I was younger watching them. Um, but have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Is that a quote from something? Any gigs on the horizon for you? I love the latest photos on Facebook, by the way. What do you mean by gigs? I'm not sure. I don't do gigs. I am confused. You guys are confusing me. The Turkish prison thing. Oh, the Turkish prison was from Airplane One. Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember that line. That's not one of the lines Mark and I, our other sibling, used to quote all the time. Um, so I don't remember that line in particular. Um, there's still parts of it that I still find hilarious. And I did note in our House of Dragon review that Damon did an airplane. He did a Leslie Nielsen one of the scenes where Lord what's his nuts was like the Lord of Harrenhal there. Strong Lord Strong was like the Iron Throne. He's like, yeah, it's the big chair with a bunch of pointy things coming out of it. Like David just did a Leslie Nielsen. Going to a gig, like going to like a show. Not any fish shows that I'm traveling for or anything, but I always go to local shows. What else? Yep. Seen other sibling and wife and child. Yep. I have. Spaceballs, Dracula Dead and Loving It, Robert Hood Men in Tights. Spaceballs is an all-time classic. It's another one I heard they were going to reboot, and I think I talked about it on a previous live chat with Wine, how they were going to reboot Spaceballs. I will watch it if they reboot it, but I just stop rebooting things. Just honestly. Robin Hood Men in Tights. That was when I was starting to get sick of those type of movies when that one came out. I didn't think that one was as good. And Dracula Dead and Loving It was terrible. That was with Leslie Nielsen, right? Any parody movies that Leslie Nielsen did outside of Naked Gun were terrible. I would go to Alyssa. Jean Gig finishes off with the Enterprise theme song. Go out with a banger. No, you don't want to. You don't want to see an Alyssa Jean Gig. No. Brandon, I don't think I can talk to you anymore. Yes. You brought into Spaceballs, although I do think you brought it up last time I talked about Spaceballs, so it's fine. I think I already knew that you didn't like Spaceballs. It's fine. What else? Might be time to to wrap things up. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do 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 do. See, you don't want an Alyssa Jean gig. No, this is my gig right here. This is the only gig that I do. What you're watching right now. All right. It has indeed, Mary Jester. It has indeed. Cheers, everyone. I think it is time to wrap this up. Thank you so much to Will Ferrell, number one, Manny Jester, Brendan Neil Hells. Were you the only three this time? I'm trying to think if anyone else had popped in for a minute. I think it might just have been you three. I know Norman Buckwald said he was not going to be able to come. Tyler pre-submitted questions. So I guess it was just the three of you. Good to see you. I will do one more of these before the year is out, December. By the way, I think I've decided I'm not going to do weekly Lower Decks reviews. I know in the past I was kind of on the fence, so maybe I will do weekly reviews for it again. I'm not going to. I will probably do it mid-season, end of season, like I did for Discovery. Anyways, good to see you all. Have a good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it might be for you. And I will see you right here in the wine cellar next time. Goodbye, everybody.